Go
Ah,
live.
okay.
And we are live from the internet. I have come from the wastelands. And I have Jensen with me. I also have
Lie,
Shermarty.
'cause I
Hello.
live in the fucking wastelands now.
You will do when the chemicals get there, huh?
Michigan has been a chemical wasteland for decades.
This,
I don't know what she's complaining about.
this is a fair point. I mean, let's be honest. Not far away
But
from us, you've got
it's the
Detroit.
Democrats, sweetheart. It's gonna be a wasteland forever.
Unfortunate.
There's
Yep.
not much I can do about
Kill Democrats.
that.
Sorry, did I say it out loud? Whoops.
Oh, you're British.
I'm
You
allowed
kind of
to.
get pass. Well, until you get an American visa and then come stay here.
You know what? Let's go over the first story, shall we?
Yeah.
Right. Grinning goons of Antifa, 23 domestic terrorists, including an attorney for the Southern Poverty Law Center, are charged after storming and torching Atlanta's Cop City. A suspected Antifa activist, all right, charged with domestic terrorism over riots in Atlanta, is an attorney for the hard left Southern Poverty Law Center. Thomas Webb Jurgens, 28, is one of 23 people who were detained after violent clashes between police and protesters at the construction site for the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. Others include serial protesters, a former school teacher, a young dancer who recently turned to activism. Fireworks and Molotov cocktails were used to attack the police and destroy construction equipment and machinery during the riots on Sunday. Activists have spent months staging demonstrations against the police facility, right, which they dub Cop City. Okay, I'm gonna go off right now about the SPLC because these goons, okay, are constantly, and I mean constantly, referenced as a legitimate source for determining whether something was racism or not.
Is this that thing that I sent you and that Andy No did?
I don't know. I don't know. You didn't send me this. Right. I don't know what Andy No did. Right.
Andy No did a lot, but he put up a video that got sent around Twitter that had people throwing Molotov cocktails and
Fireworks? If
yeah,
so, then yes. In that case, it probably is.
yep.
Horrifying, isn't it? And by the way, my turn to butt in. Here's the really cool thing. The people that done this are probably going to be let off on bail by the end of the day, at worst case by the end of the week, because apparently it's acceptable to do this now. But yet, and this is the really cool thing that really irritates me, if the police responded by throwing the things back, it'd be the police that'd be charged, not the
The police should be throwing
terrorists.
back bullets.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
This kind of nonsense needs to end. Hi, Maddie.
Yep.
If you want to join us, just pop on into
Come in.
Discord. All right.
Hmm.
This kind of stuff is what has caused us to go down a serious negative hole of just accepting violence in this country.
Yeah.
Right. Just but they're just poor protesters. Okay. Well, you've witnessed, okay, the difference between how these people are getting treated, and I'm serious about this, versus how the riot that happened at the Capitol is treated. The cop who shot that protester, the unarmed protester, was lauded as a hero. If the cops in this case opened fire and killed 20 or 30 of these fools, all right then and there, they wouldn't be going up to the next riot.
Is this true?
Okay? That's point number one. Okay? Point number two is these rioters like this, right? The police, they would be, oh, how can you do that? They're just protesters. They're not doing anything. It's the same shit. Okay? Day in and day out, all right? If you let this violence continue, it doesn't go away. It never goes away unless you really get serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean really get serious with it. This is my problem, I'll be perfectly frank, with the Palestinians and the Israelis. Everyone talks about the Israelis. Oh, they bombed the Palestinians and they shot a few people and this. Really? Just a few? They didn't open fire with machine guns and kill 20 or 30? All right then and there? When they have those mass riots where they're using slings to fling stones to try and kill them? Really? And it goes in and day out. And you get those pictures, all right, where the Palestinian holding the flag while he's flinging a stone, right, which is all just a big photo op bullshit, right? Instead of what it should have been, the guy standing there with a flag flinging the stone and then a bullet hitting him in the head.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right? Where they sit up there and said, open fire and put an end to this shit. Because that's what it would take. And that's what it's going to take. People talk about, well, we need peace in the Middle East. The only peace you're going to see in the Middle East is if you sit up there and start eradicating Palestinians in mass. And I'm not exaggerating that.
I'm okay with this.
Now, the Palestinians would say the opposite. That the only peace you would get is if you started eradicating Israelis in mass. This is how intractable it is.
Yeah.
The Israelis don't let us sit up there and use our ambulances to move people that are injured into their hospitals, and people are dying because they're not going to the hospital. Why haven't you built a hospital in Ramallah? You give them billions in aid, all right?
What my husband just said. Is this your stance because you're Jewish?
He is. Just so you all know, he really is. You are never going to be able to live that one down. You know that, don't you?
Goodness me. I would love for somebody to describe what tribe of Israel I supposedly belong to.
The genocide tribe?
I am serious about this. How many billions and billions of dollars of American treasury has been given to the Palestinians, and yet they haven't built a hospital in Ramallah? They haven't built these other facilities. They build factories for Katyusha rockets that they fire, right? But they just can't find the money to build a flipping hospital.
Do I do it? Yeah, I do. Okay, this is coming from people that come from the country that were fighting against terrorists and giving how much to the IRA? Just out of curious. The IRA, you know, the ones that were committing terrorism.
How much money were we given to the IRA? Was not being given by quote unquote the nation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can sit up there and say that there were groups that were helping to fund the IRA in the United States. All right.
Yeah.
But it is a pittance in comparison to the billions that we're handing over every year.
Oh no, that is true. But technically, all that's happened is your country's moved from one group to another.
On your population centers.
Did you not have to suffer with the stuff that we did during the 70s or 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Yes. Did you ever watch what was going on in this country during that time frame?
Yeah, you was
students were sitting up there using fuel bombs, all right, on campuses all over. Does Kent State ring a bell?
Yeah, but you personally have already proved that whole Kent State thing was a load of crap anyway.
I said it's a bunch of left claptrap, but it was.
There we go.
shot them and killed more of them. That's all I was saying.
Hmm. And
Right.
Oz is correct, by the way. Even if they did build a hospital, they'd just launch rockets from the roof. He has
Yeah,
a
they would.
reasonable point with that.
He is right about that too.
Hmm. I like Matt's idea. Don't blame me. I want to nuke both sides. Called being
Like I
centrist.
said, Oz and Matt are both terrible people.
No, they are both accurate. They are also terrible
This
people,
is terrible.
but it's still accurate.
Man.
Hey, Batman.
Don't mind me. Continue. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, cool. We're currently taking the mickey out of America and the amount they spent helping the IRA, and he's complaining about them spending money helping the Palestinians.
Oh, I thought that was America's favourite pastime, helping terrorists.
And Oz called him Jewish or
Yeah, yeah.
blamed him because he was called Jewish or something like that.
I'm being
This
really
is fair.
too.
Okay.
We're just keeping you up to date, mate.
Have a Nagila.
Hmm.
All right.
That's shalom. That's all you need to remember with Nomad. Shalom.
Anyway, are the sanctions really wrecking life in Russia? As British supermarkets ration eggs
That's
and
no
vegetables, thanks in part to Putin's war in the Ukraine, shelves in
Hold
provincial
on.
Russian cities.
Pause a minute. British supermarkets rationing eggs. Where? I haven't seen any rationing.
When you're finished talking about this, do allow me to say stuff. I have things I would like to say. Please carry on first, though.
Shelves in provincial Russian city are groaning under piles of fresh food, writes Sue Reed. All right. These revealing photographs show the shop shelves in a provincial Russian city groaning under piles of fresh food as British supermarkets ration eggs and an array of fruits and vegetables amid shortages provoked in large part by the Ukraine war. No such hardships afflict Vladimir Putin's citizens. The pictures were taken at a food hall, 2 superstores, and a corner shop in Perm, a city with a population about the size of Birmingham's in the Ural Mountains, all right, a 24-hour drive from Moscow. The images suggest the West's much vaunted sanctions on Russia imposed to punish President Vladimir Putin for his invasion are not having a deep bite. Okay, now this is a Filton Asada in Bristol, which I assume is a big grocery store chain, Asada, right?
Probably. Never heard of it.
Right, and then obviously this one is in Perm.
Hold on. Find the name of that.
So-
Where does it
so-
say the name of the supermarket?
It just says food market in Perm.
Oh, yeah, Asda. Yes, I know what Asda
Oh,
is.
yeah,
Mhm.
Asada. I was thinking it was somebody like a study
Oh,
supermarket.
Okay.
let's be honest. It's Birmingham. It's perfectly reasonable to call it a Sardi or something similar, mate. That's the problem. Okay. Am I allowed to give my opinion?
Oh yes, please.
Okay. First, before I do, Batman, is there anything you want to say, mate? Just
Like I said, I haven't seen any evidence of rationing at all.
okay.
Have you seen empty
This
shelves?
whole
Batman,
Say when.
have you seen
Oh.
empty shelves?
Well, not empty shelves, but with a bit less on than usual because people are panic buying.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead, Jensen. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No problem. This is all crap. Okay. I've seen interviews with farmers and things like that. They have all of the materials to provide. It's the actual malls and the various supermarkets, etc., that are not actually buying and transporting it to the stores. So there is no loss of materials. It's just not being transported. That's the
It's-
thing that they're forgetting.
Yeah.
Forgetting to mention.
It might be in some places, but not in others because, so the thing that seems to be missing the most from what I've been seeing is pet supplies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, like fruit and veg, eggs, meat, milk, stuff like that seems. Yeah, there seems to be business as usual most for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So this is scaremongering by the popular press.
Yes.
Okay.
The whole thing is rubbish. And
Yes.
the reason I say this is because the farmers that I saw in the interview, they were saying if you actually go to farmers markets, you can buy as much eggs and all the various stuff that you could seriously as much as you could imagine. It's just that it's not going to the stores because the stores are not buying them. It's a fix, ladies and gentlemen. A fix.
Mr. Barkley, I need to learn to
Mhm.
grow things that aren't weeds.
No. You put an S on there. No,
Yeah, weed.
he knows exactly what he meant by that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you can add weed to your food to get an interesting effect while eating if you choose to. So
Yeah.
technically,
I have heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Nomad here, you've seen the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right?
Yes.
I've seen it.
Nomad is the white Carlton.
Wow. There is no need to be that nasty to know, man. Come on.
What do you mean? Carlton was actually the most popular character on that show, so I'm being nasty to Carlton.
Fair point. I was expecting you to say he was Uncle, whatever his name was.
Segue. France faces standstill in protest against pensions overhaul.
You mean what they mean is pensions theft?
France's trade unions are headed for a crucial face-off with President Emmanuel Macron.
Hold on, before you go on, it's France. I don't care.
Fair point.
With President Macron on Tuesday with fresh strikes and protests planned against a controversial pensions reform he has championed. Unions have vowed to bring the country to a standstill over the proposed changes, which include raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, gasp, all right, and increasing the number of years workers have to make contributions for a full pension. I call on all the country's employees, citizens, and retirees who are against the pensions reform to come out and protest en masse. The head of the CFDT union, Laurent Berger, interesting, right, told the France Inter radio station on Monday. The president cannot remain deaf to protest. Okay.
It's funny, isn't it? The biggest drain on any country's economy is its politicians, particularly the ones in office. And instead of cutting their own wages a bit to help out, they raise their wages and cut everybody else's.
And this shocks you because
it doesn't. It just pisses me off.
No, fair point. I accept that.
What are they expecting from these pensions, folks?
What was that?
What are you expecting from these pensions?
I'm expecting the phone to ring. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I guess Batman will be occupied for a few minutes.
Yeah. He's probably answering to the name of Mr. A. Hitler.
My point is government pensions, right? If you're not working for the government, are a drain in your economy, are the biggest single drain in your economy. Period.
Yes.
Right.
That's how it is over
in
here
the
as well.
In the United States, they are. Most people don't even realize this. When
that was great.
Talk about our budget. When people talk about the budget and the outlays and everything, they tend to a lot of that data tends to avoid putting in Social Security. Okay.
Oh,
Which is,
that was
which
an
is a huge drain on our resources.
That was an interesting phone call.
Yeah.
It was a moron scammer who did not know how to operate their system. I could hear them talking to each other, and they couldn't hear me. And then you got some telephone music, and then I got cut off.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, at least you got entertainment.
No, I didn't, because I didn't get to wind them up.
Fair point. All
Well,
right.
Half an hour ago, I got phoned up by one, and I used the "Are you going down the shops" routine.
Hmm.
Poor girl ended up screaming at me.
Fair.
I was satisfied.
Yeah.
So the thing about this is the government doesn't owe you anything. Okay, it doesn't. This idea that the government owes you a pension, all right?
If you pay into a pension fund, then you are owed a pension.
Okay, but the fact is with technology and everything else, those things are going broke because people are living longer. Medicine has caused people to live much, much longer. When Social Security was first introduced into the United States, which was back in the 30s, I believe, right, when they first put it in.
Well, you
Okay.
should know.
the life expectancy of the average American was about 60. Okay. So placing a 62 or 63,
Well,
saying
that's
that,
only
okay, when you turn
because
62 or 63, you would start to collect Social Security.
isn't that mainly because back then, as you approach 60, you started getting slow, so some young punk would eventually get the drop on you. We know what you gun happy Americans are like.
He's not wrong.
I'm not going to argue
see
the point.
Bye-bye.
I didn't know she was still there.
I don't think she realized she was still there. All right.
Does she ever realize she's there?
But no, but the problem still remains. You see my problem with this. Look, the idea is that these pension plans are going to go in the United States right now. You have to be at least 65, and they're talking about raising it to 68.
Oh, they've already raised it to 67 over here. By the time I get to 67, they'll probably raise it to 70. I'll die before I reach pension age.
Well, that's what the goal is.
Yeah.
Right? for the government, that's what the goal is. They want more people dying than collecting the pensions.
I've got a great way to have a population in the UK that is manageable in terms of infrastructure.
Well, the problem
get rid of all these fucking immigrants.
Yeah, well, no, I understand that, but in some ways that actually helps you at least temporarily from the standpoint of new workers paying into the. No, hold on, I understand why they're a net drain. I'm not arguing that point, right? But the thing is you need to have more people coming into the system constantly as the nation is growing.
Jensen, right? Can you tell him?
Let me finish this, Batman. If you're going to sit up there and have a system like this, you're going to have grow the bottom, keep growing the number of people at the bottom. The problem is when the population stabilize, all right, now you no longer have that growth at the bottom to be able to fund this system.
That's the thing. The idea that we weren't growing as a population was a fallacy. And the people who are coming into the country, both with passports and without passports, but the vast majority of them are going straight into the benefits. They're not they're not contributing to the system. They're going straight onto the benefits, and they're not working. They're just taking. Am I right, Jensen?
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's how it's been here in the United States, contrary to popular belief. by the Dems, who keep talking about, oh, the immigrants, they're just here to work. Some are, the majority aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we don't have immigrants, who's going to cut our lawns?
You know?
Now they're more worried about who's going to serve them coffee in Pret a Manger. It wouldn't be so bad, but that part's actually true.
Yeah, never ask John McEnroe to serve you coffee.
On to the next one. Iran's
Yeah, you end up getting hit by a ball of ice.
Iran's Khamenei calls girls' poisoning unforgivable after public anger. More than 1,000 schoolgirls have been poisoned in Iran. Iran's supreme leader said on Monday that poisoning schoolgirls is an unforgivable crime that should be punished by death if deliberate. Right? State TV reported amid
it was probably his people who did it.
Public anger over a wave of suspected attack on schools. Over 1,000 girls have suffered poisoning since November, according to the state media and officials. And if they're admitted to over 1,000, you can imagine just how widespread this is.
It's going to be a lot more. And it's not just going to be schoolgirls either.
With some politicians blaming religious groups opposed to girls' education. The poisonings have come at a critical time for Iran's clerical rulers.
Right,
after
hold on a
months of
minute.
protests since the death of a young woman held by police for flouting the hijab rules.
Hold on a minute. Some political groups, what was it? Opposed to girls' education. That's the ruling fucking group in Iran.
So some religious groups, but that is
yes, that's the regime in Iran. They're opposed to that.
I don't disagree with you. I think it is the government trying to kill their citizens.
Thing is, you're not going to like this, but the the freedom movement was gaining steam in Iran. It was brewing up. They would have swept the fundamentalists out of office. Joe Biden made sure they didn't.
You get an argument for me?
By the way, this whole argument that was done, you know why it happened, don't you? They wasn't annoyed at the killing of the girls. They was annoyed at the waste of the poison on only mere girls.
No, the fact is
they were making noise to placate the masses.
Does anybody believe that this isn't happening at the behest of the government? The government is poisoning.
Oh, hell no.
The girls because they're rioting. Right? Let's get rid of the problem. Seriously, where's the problem stemming from? Giving the girls education, let's remove that. That's the thinking. Right? And if you tell me that isn't the thinking, then
that's your question, Nomad.
How do you have thousands like this in an
can I ask you a question?
The size of California, and nothing's done about it since freaking November?
Can I ask you a question, Nomad?
Go
on. Does the United States government rule the United States?
No.
Right. Does the British government rule the United Kingdom, Jensen?
God, no.
The Iranian government rules Iran. They don't govern it, they rule it.
I know.
There's a marked difference. They don't care about the people. They care about their power.
You know, he actually has a point there, Nomad. I mean, we can theoretically, and I use this term quite loosely here, we can get rid of our ruling councils of our appropriate countries by voting. Over there, the only people that get to the vote are them, and it's literally one man, one vote. He's the man, he gets the vote.
That's it.
Right. They have a democracy, right?
Yeah, they have a dead man's shoes system. You know, you kill the man in front of you, you get his shoes.
4 kidnapped
not literally his shoes, but you know what I mean.
To Mexico for healthcare. Yes, I understand. Right. 4 Americans who traveled to Mexico last week to seek help.
Hold
on. Before you go on, Matt is asking if those girls ate at Arby's.
Mm-hmm. No. They wouldn't. The girls might have been poisoned, but they're not that bad. Come on, Arby's, really?
Actually, Jensen, I know what they did. They fed them British real food.
I thought. No, actually, I'm going to hold you there, Batman. No. there are rules against using chemical weapons in the Geneva
It's
Convention. You're not
British
allowed to
real.
use
It's British real food. You can't call it chemical.
All right. 4 Americans who traveled to Mexico last weekend
All
to seek
chemical.
health care got caught in a deadly shootout and were kidnapped by heavily armed men who threw them in the back of a pickup truck, officials from both countries said on Monday. The 4 were traveling Friday in a white minivan with North Carolina license plates. They came under fire shortly after entering the city of Matamoros from Brownsville, the southernmost tip of Texas near the Gulf Coast, the FBI said in a statement Sunday. All 4 Americans were placed in a vehicle and taken from the scene by armed men. The Bureau is offering a $50,000 reward for the victim's return and the arrest of the kidnappers. Zanandara Brown of Florence, South Carolina, said she has been in contact with the FBI and local officials after her brother, Zindell Brown, all right, is one of the victims. This is like a bad dream you wish you could wake up from, she said in a phone interview. To see a member of your family thrown in the back of a truck and dragged, it is just unbelievable.
It must be traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Zalranda
Not just for her brother, but for her as well.
Yeah. Zalander Brown said her brother, who lives in Myrtle Beach, all right, and 2 friends had accompanied a third friend who was going to Mexico for a tummy tuck surgery. The doctor who advertises such surgeries in Matamoros did not answer calls seeking comment. All right, so they said that she was going there for health care.
They're going to wake up in a nice bath with a kidney missing.
Well, she's not going there for healthcare though. They were going there for
cosmetics,
cosmetic surgery. Right.
Yeah, but like I said, they're going to wake up in a bath filled with ice and have a kidney missing each.
I disagree with you for one reason.
Waking up.
Exactly. They're going to harvest everything from them. There is basically about 4 parts of the human body that aren't used somewhere when it comes to medical facility. And basically, that's generally the bits that wobble or are green.
Or grey.
Well, they said that they opened fire in here. From the description in this story, 2 may have been alive. The other 2 may flat out be dead already. Okay. And Oz is correct.
Yeah.
The kidnappers were probably the local cops. He's not wrong about that, folks.
Equally, it could well have been the doctor that they were going to. After all, they seem to know exactly when to do it, and you can only do that if you have the knowledge. So maybe look at the doctor.
Yeah. I actually heard.
It doesn't have to be the doctor himself. It could be anybody on his staff.
This is true.
I actually heard advice about if you're going on a driving holiday in Mexico, hire a car in Mexico and not a new looking car. So it's got Mexican plates. It looks nondescript.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get noticed. You go there in your own car, like a car you keep clean with American plates on. You're a prime target.
Yeah.
Well,
let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? If you're going down to that area and you're going to hire a car, you hire a car from, I think it's Cuba, because they've got absolutely awesome cars over there.
Although we all know if Nomad went on holiday into Mexico, he'd go in his own car, but his own car doesn't have wheels. It has caterpillar treads and a nice gun on the front.
The fact is nobody should be going
and a white star on the side.
For anything. All right. Little flag. Anyway.
Yes, you would. You'd be going down there in your Sherman tank, yelling, "Remember the Alamo, you bastards!"
Anyway, when you do anyway, I'm not going to go into that. the thing is, though, Mexico is we're gonna have to go to war with Mexico pretty soon,
I'm okay
and
with this.
that's when. No, it's coming. It's coming very quick. You watch.
Do it at midday. You'll catch them all in siesta.
That's actually not a bad plan. Fair.
And when that war begins, that's when China will move on Taiwan.
Yep.
That's going to be one of the goals.
Mhm.
They will move on Taiwan when we're too preoccupied dealing with Mexico.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing with Russia is.
Because dealing
And
with
probably
Mexico
New Zealand as well.
does not use our resources the way our resources would be used in Taiwan.
Hold on. Sean is saying that Nomad would be a street judge. Don't be silly, Sean. Where are you going to find a street that he would fit in? Where are you going to find a judge's uniform he would fit in?
On to the next story.
Use a helmet as a thimble for his little finger.
Florida Republicans blogger registration bill blasted as insane by Newt Gingrich. Florida Republican State Senator Jason Bordure put forward a bill that would require bloggers to register with the Office of Legislative Services or the Commission on Ethics in the state, and it was not well received.
Why?
The bill has been featured many times in the media, who sometimes acknowledge that it is just, as the National Review's Charlie Cook put it, a solo moron who is pushing for the unconstitutional, if not dystopian, move. MSNBC's Eamon Moyedin,
I don't know. Can't say it.
All right.
Yeah.
On Saturday, described the single supporter proposed bill as an example of a scary trend in Florida, and guest Rotimi Adoyi,
right.
of the ACLU and the Daily Beast blamed Governor Ron DeSantis' insecurity for Broder's bill. All right. Now, the problem with this starts with a couple things. First of all,
saying their names.
I agree that the bill is sketchy, number one. All right. But number two is to portray it like this is a popular move by the quote-unquote Republican legislature. It's a single one-off bill that nobody is supporting. It's not going anywhere in the legislature. It never was. Okay?
So from this,
never a serious threat to anything.
Yeah. From this, I'm getting the distinct idea that in Florida, you don't just have meth squirrels, meth gators, you also have meth politicians.
You are surprised when?
Have you seen?
I'm not.
Have you seen the arrest record, right, of the former candidate from the DNC? All right, for governor.
I bet they're still reading it even now.
All right. So just so you understand. Now, the problem with this is if you look through this whole thing, is they don't tell you a significant part of the issue. In order for you to, as a blogger, to have to be registered, okay, you had to be receiving funding from a political action group.
Oh, okay. You're okay. There's nobody. There's nobody funds your group, is it? What is it again? The Friends of Venus. That's right, folks. He is really Exodore.
All right. Now, so they're not even talking about the truth of the bill, but the bill's still wrong. Don't misunderstand. But it's
everything you said about it is correct. Dystopian.
Right. Well, it's not as dystopian though as they're trying to claim. It will lead to that. Okay. There's no reason for it.
The thing is, they managed to do that with vloggers. They're going to do it to all the media.
Well, of course, that's the whole thing. And what's more is then there is some issues involved in some of this, right? For example, let's be perfectly frank: the vast majority of the mainstream media are nothing more than propagandists for the Democratic National Committee.
And not very good
That's
ones at that.
exactly what they are. They're not even trying to tell you the truth. Just like I said, here you have Mediaite. Did Mediaite tell you the truth about the bill? No. It only takes. We'll talk about it in the broadest sense so that we don't have to tell people that it only refers to people that are taking money as lobbyists, right? And that's really what the bill is saying, is you have to register as a lobbyist. Now, how does that work? Well, a blogger outside of the state, all right, that's being funded, according to this, they're saying, well, Florida has the right to tell people in Arizona that you have to register with us. No, that will never happen. Period. Okay? And that part is completely unconstitutional. All right? I don't disagree that there's constitutionality issues involved in this. My problem, though, is the press is portraying this as, first of all, it's a widespread scheme by Republicans or the GOP in Florida, which is absolute nonsense. But this is
Sorry
what they
to
do.
interrupt, but I'm going to have to bug. My chest is starting to ache too
Yeah.
much. You guys look after. Speak to you all later.
Take care, homies.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, will do.
Bye, Jensen.
Bye-bye.
See what you've done, Sharati.
No, it wasn't Sharati.
I know, but I'm blaming her anyway.
I told Jensen that just, if he don't feel obligated to come on, he goes, I feel obligated. You can't tell me what to do. I'm like,
You know what Jensen's like.
Yeah, I know. I love Jensen. I really do. But he needs to take care of himself.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Jensen.
I'm sure there's people who don't like Jensen.
No, there probably is, but I don't know them.
Yeah, neither do I. That's a good point, though. You ready for the next one, Batman?
No, but do it anyway.
Japan's new flagship H-3 rocket launch fails. Ordered to self-destruct. Japan's new flagship H-3 rocket lifted off Tuesday for the first time, but was ordered to self-destruct minutes later after its second stage engine failed to ignite, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency said. The launch failure came after a string of delays, including one last month, in which the launch attempt was aborted moments before blast-off.
Blast-off.
All right, of the Tanegashima Space
of the
Station
Japanese Space Center
on Takashimi Island in the
on Japanese island
prefecture of Kagoshima. I got one right.
I don't know. I look at Japanese words and I just see Japanese written there instead.
The successor to the country's reliable H-2A rocket was launched from the center around 10:37 a.m. as scheduled. However, JAXA sent a self-destruct command to the newly developed rocket from the ground after the launch vehicle was deemed unable to complete its intended mission. Tuesday's development marks another blow for Japan's space agency.
These are only tests. These are only test launches, correct?
No, this was not. This was carrying a freaking satellite.
Oh.
This was not a test launch. This is a full up. We're trying to launch a satellite for the first time.
Well,
and
this is Japan's fault. They should have stolen some German scientists during the war.
I don't think that the Japan needs that, but this is a much larger rocket for larger payloads. One of the things, though.
Oh, look, that's what they're doing wrong. It's large. Japan only makes good stuff when they miniaturize them.
The thing is it's unfortunate that they had to destroy it. But one of the problems is they said that the first stage functioned perfectly. It's the second stage failed to ignite, which means that it was probably about 500-600 nautical miles up in the air already.
Yeah, that record is going to cover a large area.
Yeah,
and if there's anything nuclear in it, I mean, satellites usually have nuclear batteries, don't they?
Not all. It depends on the satellite.
Or
Most of the
nuclear
don't,
fuel
actually.
cells, rather.
Most of
Because I thought they did, because half the time they're not
there
in
are a
sunlight.
number of them, but most of the satellites that get launched use solar power. They'll have solar arrays.
Oh, and a solar capacitor rotated.
Yeah. Now that's how the satellites, all right, especially recently, most of the recent ones. But you are right. A lot of them use there are a lot of, especially the military satellites.
Yep.
Use some type of nuclear fuel.
Then there's that defunct Greenpeace satellite that uses wind power. Hey, it worked great when it was going up.
The problem with when you get up to that high though is you're in low orbit kind of, or near orbit, and where this thing can come down could easily, you've lost control of it. All right, you have no ability to control where it's going to come down at, and if it's going over a population center, it could be bad. The other thing about this, and if you read the storyline, the satellite itself also had instruments by their defense industry for their defense group. So they said it was for testing certain things, which, okay. In other words, this thing had
probably death rate to use on China.
They didn't want to have fall into the
they probably have a death rate to use on China. But yeah, it's low or near Earth orbit, because any higher, and the magnetic fields, not the magnetic fields, the radiation that you get in high orbit is going to mess with the satellites. They're not designed to take that.
That's true. That's when you get out to like geocentric orbit.
Yep.
Right,
so that means if Shirati ever went into space, she'd have to be pretty well shielded, otherwise her bionics would stop working.
I think it works quite like that.
Did on the $6 Million Man. Are you telling me that Steve Austin was lying to us?
Yes, Steve Austin was lying to you.
Don't believe you.
The Supreme Court declines to decide whether a city-backed prayer vigil violated the First Amendment. The Supreme Court declined Monday to hear arguments in a dispute between officials in Central Florida City who encouraged residents to attend a prayer vigil and two atheists who claimed that the city's involvement violated the First Amendment. The decision to decline the case, which was made without comment from the High Court, leaves in place a federal appeals court ruling that found at least one of the plaintiffs was within their rights to sue over the vigil. The lawsuit may now continue in a lower court. Two of the court's conservative justices wrote brief opinions about the decisions to decline the case. Associate Justice Neil Gorsuch signaled support for the city's view, but said it was far too early for the Supreme Court to weigh in. Associate Justice Clarence Thomas dissented from the court's decision.
I bet these two had multicolored hair.
But to say that they declined to hear it without any commentary is inaccurate. Because there was commentary.
Yeah, I'm saying these two, they weren't atheists, they were anti-theists, if they're acting like that, and I bet they had multicolored hair.
Oh, I think they're probably part of the left-wing lunatic groups, fringe groups.
That's what I'm hinting at.
Yeah, kind of like these idiots, right? Massachusetts residents demand change to the state flag over white supremacy culture. Okay. Residents of Newburyport are demanding that the city council replace the Massachusetts
Hold on, before you do this, can you scroll back up to the top again?
What?
Yeah, there, trending now. Lawyer among 23 smirking suspects charged with domestic terrorism, cop city attack. When did Shaggy become a lawyer?
We started with that story, Batman.
Yeah, I wasn't here, but that's Shaggy.
That's what you get for being late. Right. According to the Newbury Daily News, the
I
council
didn't know you
received
were gonna.
a resolution on February 27th asking it to support the work of the Special Commission relative to the seal and motto of the Commonwealth. The commission, in part, recommended replacing the seal and flag to better reflect the diverse residents living in Massachusetts. That
So
same
they get
day,
rid
the
of sail and
resolution
replace.
was referenced or was referred to the General Government Committee in a 9-2 vote. The resolution has been pushed by the Newburyport residents Marina Vesey and Linda Lou Brasega,
Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
all right, who say 55 other municipalities have already adopted the change. Vesey and Brasega also claim that dozens of other municipalities are considering the resolution. So what is
So,
this big racist? What is this big racist?
are they replacing the seal with a manatee or something?
Well, no, hold on. What's
Think
so
about it.
racist
Seal,
about this
manatee.
seal? Let's talk about the seal for a moment.
Well, let's have a look at the seal.
There it is.
That's a Native American. There's a guy's arm. There's some chain work. Are those bells or rose petals or something?
They look like flowers.
And a little flowery design in the middle. That's about as white supremacy as I don't know. Yeah, a black church. That's not racist. That's not white supremacy at all.
Right. Now the Indian that's represented standing there, and he looks pretty proud, right? Is supposedly
He looks like he's
early Native Americans.
Yeah, he looks like he's standing there wishing that the artist would hurry up.
But
Me got to go catch dinner.
This is obviously not a horrific depiction. It's not depicting anything. How is this white supremacist?
Maybe it's because the seal itself. Most of the seal is white. So what's the one they want to replace it with?
I don't know.
This sounds interesting.
They want it to be multi-colored and everything else. We've only got 3 more stories to do. Folks.
I know what it is. They want to replace the Native American guy with a black guy who identifies as a woman, but only on Wednesdays. Because the rest of the year he self-identifies as an aardvark.
Should be a little transforming thing that says the flag usually transforms into various little things. Anyway, on to the next story.
Transformers, flags in disguise.
Naked Virginia woman shot in leg after she allegedly broke into home, attacked a victim with a frying pan.
Why does this sound like a bad comedy?
A Virginia homeowner shot a naked woman in the leg after she allegedly broke into his home and attacked him with a frying pan, according to authorities. Carroll County Sheriff's Office deputies initially responded to reports of a shooting on Loafers Rest Road in Austinville on February 26, located Paula Michelle Locklear, 35, with a gunshot wound to the leg. During the course of the investigation, deputies determined that the shooting was the result of a breaking and entering, the sheriff's office said in a Sunday Facebook post. The homeowner, who heard a noise at the rear area of the home, went to the kitchen, observed an unclothed female who was unknown to the homeowner coming into the rear door, at which time she began hitting the homeowner with a cast iron frying pan in the head.
Oh, God, it's got to be some drugged up crazy woman who thinks she's getting into her own home.
The victim was eventually able to kick Locklear out of the home and secure his door. Locklear then allegedly went on the homeowner's back porch and began turning all the electrical breakers off in the house and started beating on the kitchen window. She yelled at the victim to get out of her house or she was going to kill him and began beating on the victim's door, at which point he discharged a firearm and shot Locklear in the leg.
I told you, she thinks it's her home.
Okay. Virginia officials, 5-year-old suspect is being held without bond pending her arraignment. The homeowner is not facing any charges after Carroll County Commonwealth Attorney Roger Brooks determined that he was acting in self-defense. This has to be a case of drug abuse.
Yeah.
It has to be a case like that where she's just whacked out on drugs.
She probably got bit by a meth squirrel.
Maybe. It's a possibility.
Either that or Matt Bartley's been selling her his magic cigarettes.
I don't think Matt Barkley is doing anything for anyone right now. He's not harming anybody. Right? Mr. Barkley is just going about his normal day. Why would you say that, Mr. Barkley?
Yeah, he sells magic cigarettes.
He sells magic cigarettes, huh?
Yeah, they're magic.
On to the second to last story. You ready?
It's a moose.
It is a moose. It's a moose in the wild.
I think mooses are cool. Mooses are cool.
Doesn't look happy, and this idiot is standing in its way.
Yeah.
Right?
Moose
you know
cool.
what happens when you stand in the way of a moose?
You end up flattened.
You end up like this.
Like I said, moose are cool.
That's what happens when you stand in the way of a moose.
And this is why moose are cool. So long as you don't stay in their way.
All right. If you are dumb enough to understand this, the moose is there, and you stand there looking at it like, oh, this is cool. No, it's not cool. A snowmobiler in Idaho leaped from his vehicle and escaped being crushed by a moose when the animal charged at him in Idaho. The whole thing was caught on camera. The dramatic incident occurred over the weekend near the town of Palisades, Ohio. Jeremiah Bigelow, posted the video to social media and said that his brother had been 1 second slower when jumping off the snowmobile, catastrophe would have occurred. Bigelow said he, his son, and his brother and 2 of his friends were out enjoying the snowy landscape when the brother pulled farther ahead of the group. That's when the moose got between them and began to charge, stopping about 20 feet from them. All right, you look at this moose when it gets back up. I mean, it's just hilarious looking at him with that face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run you over again if you don't get out of here. Right?
Like, yeah,
Oh my god!
It's a wild animal.
It is.
What do you expect? It's a wild animal that doesn't have anything to fear of anything in that bloody forest.
Well, they fear bears, but in the wintertime they don't fear them because the bears are all sleeping.
No, they fear bears when they're by themselves. But as soon as they get away from the bear, they get their mates around, then they go and pay the bear a visit. That's why if you notice, you'll see a lot of moose in the forest, but not many bears.
You see a lot of moose because mooses are, they are terrifying and they're huge. And it's a good thing that it had yet to put the antlers out, right? That it's already dropped its antlers. Because if it had those big antlers when it hit him, he wouldn't have gotten away.
Oh, he'd be dead. He'd be dead.
If that thing had its antlers when it hit that,
yeah, he'd be dead.
It had been all over for him, right? That's the thing.
Yep.
These are wild creatures. Leave them alone. Just to give a wide berth. They asked the guy later, what are you going to do in the future? Well, I'm going to give them a lot more room. No shit, really?
What are you going to do when you see a moose in the future? I'm going to run away screaming. But yeah, moose. I think the moose are cool from a distance.
Final story of the day.
Oh, I misread that. I thought it said drug lords hippies.
I'd have been all for this. 'Cause right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm on the hippo side. Okay, Colombia hopes to remove dead drug lords' hippos. The governor in the region of Colombia, where a herd of some 150 hippos, descendants of animals once owned by drug kingpin Pablo Escobar, are breeding out of control.
That's the name
said
I hear it.
Monday, he hopes for the green light to send half of them to sanctuaries in India and Mexico. We hope
Oh, not
that-
Mexico.
We hope
They'll
that
end up as burgers.
we hope that the permits required by the national institutions can be approved in the first half of this year so that we can make arrangement for air shipment, said Annabelle Garibaldi.
Where?
Gavarali?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to butcher your name, sir. Governor of Antigua, all right, in the northwest,
Govera?
told AFP.
Oh, Gaviria.
The small herd of hippos arrived in Colombia in the late 1980s, brought in by the fabulously wealthy cocaine lord Escobar. After his death in 1993, the animals were left to roam freely and populated the region of Magdalena Medio, right? A hot savanna hot savanna crisscrossed by rivers, marshes, and swamps where food for hippos is abundant.
One moment, Nomad. Matt Bartley is saying, I wonder what hippos taste like. That's the horrifying thing, Matt. They're so dangerous, nobody knows.
I don't know if anybody has even a hippo. You're right, because these things are dangerous.
I mean,
Growth of
they
the
hear a
hippos-
boat. They hear a boat a mile away downriver, and they will travel to that boat just to tip it up and terrorize people. They're evil.
The growth of the hippopotamus population is a complex situation for the inhabitants of Magdalena Medio, some of whom have been threatened by the animals, right? Which
Just
weigh
some
2
of
to
them.
3 tons. The local
Just some of
environmental
them.
agency recorded at least 2 assaults on residents in 2021. In 2022, after unsuccessful attempts at a sterilization program, the government declared the hippos an invasive species, opening the
No
door
shit.
to hunting. Experts and environmental agencies agreed that it was a necessary solution to given the threat to the local people and the wildlife. Now, let
Yeah,
the
but
hippos roam. They found a
No.
place. They're happy.
No,
Let them go.
no. Think about it. If they eat Colombians, you're going to have meth hippos.
I think that's too late.
You don't want meth hippos.
It's too late. These are Pablo Escobar's hippos. Worried about
Yeah,
them is too
yes.
late.
Yeah, but Pablo Escobar was a drug lord, right?
Yes.
He was making money out of drugs. He's not going to waste drugs on bloody hippos.
He wasted money on bringing the hippos into the country. What do you mean he wouldn't waste drugs on the hippos?
Yeah, but the hippos were a cool, fascinating animal.
All right,
He just brought them into He just brought them in to entertain Matt.
I mean, don't hunt, but I don't hunt, but hunting hippos sounds pretty awesome. Okay, if you think so. I don't think hunting hippos is an awesome thing because it's a lot like what Batman said. You hunt the hippos are going to hunt you.
Yeah, that's the thing. You look at them and you think, oh, they'll not be very fast. They can fucking move.
They don't have a lot of stamina on land. All right,
They're
granted,
actually as
but
fast
they're
on land as they are. They're as fast on land as they are in the river.
And they are fast. They're very fast on land. They can run for very short distances, but they can outrun a horse in those short distances.
And
Right.
that mouth can get it through the metal in your car.
Yes, it can. And they do tip over boats. They do kill people.
Quite frequently.
Right.
Hey,
They
it's
do
actually
threaten
been
people.
it's actually been documented that they will lie almost completely submerged in the water just to ambush boats.
Yeah, they are a dangerous creature. I will admit that.
They're not dangerous. They're not dangerous. They're evil. They are large, overweight devils.
You'd need a take.
What do you think a
Anyway.
hippo is?
That's the final story of the day. That's all I've got. Do you have anything else to say, Batman?
Only the usual. Right, you heard him. It's finished.
Right.
The show is over.
Thanks for
You can all
coming out, everybody.
fuck off now.